everyone, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Alecia, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about all the 2026 book releases that I am most looking forward to. We've got romance, fantasy, thriller, and horror, because if you know, you know, I am a lover of all genres. I do not discriminate. Give me a rom-com, give me a romantasy, give me a serial killer thriller or a creepy horror, I'll read them all. So grab your TBR list, a cozy drink, maybe a blanket, and let's get into the 2026 book releases I'm already obsessing over. The first category we're gonna go over is romance. So these are all the romances coming out in 2026 so far that I can't wait to get my hands on. So we have Just for the Cameras by Megan Quinn. They're faking it for the cameras, but what if the sparks are real? Graydon St. John doesn't do drama or public appearances. The brooding defensive end for the San Francisco Foghorns prefers silence, solitude, and avoiding headlines. But when a league-wide PR scandal forces him into a media stunt at the city zoo, he's suddenly face to face with squawking birds, nosy fans, and the zookeeper who seems to hate his guts on sight. Do I hear an enemies to lovers? Ooh. Maple Baker loves her flamingos. Loud, pink, messy, sure, but they're hers, and the last thing she needs is a grumpy football player stomping into her sanctuary with a bad attitude and a bigger ego. Unfortunately, they've been paired for the zoo's new public outreach program, and the cameras are already rolling. The banter is sharp, the tension is electric, and the more they pretend to play nice for the press, the more their fake flirtation starts to feel like something dangerously real. But when family secrets, viral fame, and a PR romance gone off script threaten everything Maple's worked for, Graydon must decide if he's willing to fight for love or let it slip away to protect her. Love that. I just think that sounds like a really cute romance, and I love an enemies to lovers. I've read one Megan Quinn book before and I did really enjoy it, so I'm really looking forward to this one. And The Crowd Went Wild by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. After a mortifying and very public humiliation, Dancy Flynn, I don't know how to say that name. I'm assuming it's Dancy. Dancy Flynn is desperate to find sanctuary far from the crowd. But where can a washed up sex symbol hide? How about making an unannounced appearance at the secluded lake house of the sweet, sensitive high school boyfriend she hasn't seen in almost 20 years. But Chicago Stars quarterback Clint Garrett is no longer the kid Dancy remembers. Now he's a gridiron superhero. I don't know what that, but I'm sure that's a football term or something. I don't know what that means. Still holding a massive grudge against her for breaking his teenage heart, with no room in his life for either complexity or distractions. He banishes Dancy to a refurbished old railroad caboose tucked away in the woods and out of his sight. Except Dancy's not good at staying invisible. Her efforts to rebuild her career clash with Clint's desperation to regain his focus, all made more challenging by a rescue dog, a local woman in trouble, a meddling mother, an ex with an agenda, and the sizzle of rekindled emotion. As Dancy attempts to get her life on track and Clint tries to get his groove back, can these two one-time lovers navigate their rocky pasts and complicated present to find themselves and each other? Tropes include second chance romance, enemies to lovers, which we know I love, forced proximity. I do love a forced proximity, and childhood sweethearts, which I do love. So the only thing that I don't love is the second chance romance, but if it's done well, I can like it. It's just usually not one that makes me totally gravitate towards a romance, but all the tropes sound really good, so that's why I thought this one sounded like one I might like. I've never read that author before though, so I'm really curious to see if I end up loving it or not. Then we have my girl Lynn Painter. We have First and Forever by Lynn Painter, which I love Lynn Painter, so I will read anything she comes out with, to be honest. Duffy DiStefano loves three things: her dad, the family cat, and Minneapolis Coyotes football. So when she gets booed out of a game and becomes the internet's villain, she is distraught and disgruntled. All she did was shove Coyote Carl away when he made a move on her, but everyone else just saw a woman attacking their team's beloved mascot. Oh, eager to clear the air, Duffy agrees to an interview on a hit morning show. She doesn't expect a co-guest to join her, especially not the Coyotes' star tight end. When MVP Connor Cunningham gets tasked with damage control to help his team out of their PR nightmare, he thought that meant saying a few words on the team's behalf. Instead, he finds himself in a highly amusing verbal sparring match with a recently wronged fan on live TV. Duffy pelts him with fiery jabs and is also clearly diehard about the Coyotes, color him intrigued and attracted. The interview instantly goes viral and the public is obsessed with them. A strong push from the Coyotes PR team to ride the wave results in Connor asking Duffy out. Despite his distaste for PR stunts, he's surprised to discover being with Duffy Duffy is much easier than he thought, and somehow it doesn't feel fake to him. Harboring this secret can only blow up, but all he knows is that if he messes things up with Duffy, it'll be the greatest fumble of his life. That sounds really good, and I love that it's not in high school and that we're doing a little bit more mature adult relationship, so I'm very excited and very intrigued with that one. Books and bewitchment. Dutiful and hardworking, Rhea Wolf lives a simple, if mundane life with her pet parrot in small-town Alabama. Sure, she may not love her desk job working for an insurance agency, and her on-again, off-again relationship with the local mechanic may not have the fiery passion she's read about in her favorite books. Still, things are stable, which is more than she can say about the two hopelessly immature younger sisters who rely on her. But when Rhea's estranged grandmother dies, leaving her everything, including a magical heritage Rhea never knew she carried, she finds herself in Arcadia Falls, the quaint mountain town her mother made her swear to avoid at all costs. While the defunct video store she also inherited needs a serious upgrade, Rhea's lucky that resident handyman Hunter Blakely is more than happy to help, and more than easy on the eyes. If only he wasn't the grandson of her grandmother's sworn enemy in witchcraft, ooh. Yet as Rhea makes plans for the bookstore of her dreams, she learns that her grandmother made a terrible choice, one that could ruin her own chance at happiness. As she gets ever closer to solving the mystery of what exactly is happening, each clue points to Arcadia Falls' magic hanging in the balance. To keep her new home safe, Rhea must step into her enchanted birthright and harness her newfound powers before it's too late. That one sounds fun, romantic, and magical, so I'm looking forward to that one. And now we're going to move on to fantasy. Heir of Illusion by Madeline Taylor. An alliance between enemies, a weapon of untold power, and a bond that could rewrite fate. So dramatic. Love. A fae assassin with the power of illusion, sworn to a king she despises. An enigmatic Grim Reaper, searching for freedom. Enemies collide in an unlikely alliance, brimming with desire and destruction. She is not the pet they tamed. Blessed with the power of illusion, Iverson Pomeroy has many tricks up her sleeve. However, none of them are a match for the enchanted collar at her throat that keeps her bound as assassin and mistress to a ruthless king. Forced to play the role of his obedient pet, she plots in secret to destroy him and claim the freedom she has always been denied. She is the beast they let inside. When a mysterious reaper, Thorn, arrives in the city with his sights set on the same weapon Ivy needs, the only artifact that can remove her collar, she must decide how far she's willing to go, and she will show no mercy. With a tenuous alliance tying them together, Ivy learns there is more to her reluctant companion than meets the eye. He sparks her curiosity and ignites dangerous desires within her. But will the secrets they harbor destroy each other? And does it even matter when anyone who so much as touches Thorn dies? Doesn't that sound good? Okay, and the tropes included are enemies to lovers, love, shadow daddy, love, female assassin. You know, I was not a fan of assassin stuff until Throne of Glass, and I loved that series, so I feel like maybe I am a fan of assassin stuff now, but I don't feel like the reason I loved Throne of Glass was the fact that she was an assassin. I feel like that didn't really matter to me, so I don't know how much I love the like assassin trope, but fine, we're good with that, but you know, I'll take it. Who Did This to You? Love that. Unlikely Alliance, love that. He Falls First, okay. Banter, Touch Her and Die, Slow Burn, Morally Gray, MMC. I love all of that except for the female assassin is like, I don't love that. It's fine. It's cool if it's there, but it's not something I look for in a book. So I'm very excited. I think I will absolutely love that book. So I cannot wait to read that next year. Deathbringer. Born with the ability to speak with the dead, Viola hates her magic. It killed her sister Olivia, and if she doesn't learn why, it will kill her too. Her only hope lies within the perilous walls of Gorhill Institute of Magic, where Olivia spent her final days. There, Viola clashes with Silas, a poison mage whose magic stems from 3 magical snakes. Immortal, tormented, and reckless, Silas is tethered to a life he never asked for and haunted by guilt for his father's death. His hatred for death mages runs deep, and he's determined to keep Viola at a distance. But when an attack forces him to heal her, their fates become intertwined by a magical bond that threatens to upend his loyalties and his common sense. As more students start turning up dead, Viola and Silas are drawn into an uneasy alliance that pulls them deeper into Gorhill's treacherous passageways, where secrets fester beneath the stone and the dead do not rest. And as enemy lines begin to blur and their undeniable attraction grows, Viola and Silas uncover a chilling someone is hunting mages for their magical relics. And if they can't uncover the killer in time, Viola will be next. Sounds amazing. Can't wait. Rings of Fate by Melissa De La Cruz. She's a barmaid who doesn't believe in fairy tales. He's a prince cursed to live one. Erin Bellamore has no interest in being anyone's princess. She's too busy running the Ravensbeak Tavern, fending off unwanted marriage proposals, and dreaming of escape. But when a brush with death and a dangerously handsome stranger upend her life, Erin finds herself bound to a bargain that could change everything. Prince Deaton has carried the cursed rings of fate, ancient weapons of devastating power, since childhood. The magic is killing him and the enemies are closing in. To make the journey to reverse his curse, he needs a bride to hide his secrets. Erin wants freedom. Pretending to be his fiancée should give them both what they want. But as their perilous journey pits them against political schemes, monstrous Kilindrar, and a growing attraction neither can deny, the line between make-believe and destiny begins to blur. And the fate of two kingdoms may depend on whether a cynical barmaid and a cursed prince are willing to risk their hearts. That sounds so good! Thistlemarsh. Fairies disappeared over 100 years ago, as suddenly as slipping through a doorway. It was only the very foolish or the very determined who held out hope for their return. Welcome to Thistlemarsh, a ramshackle estate where an impoverished orphan and a beguiling fairy collide in an enchanting novel of love, revenge, and ruin. In the wake of the Great War, the world is a decidedly unmagical place for Mouse Dunn. She once dreamed of becoming a fairy anthropologist, but with one telegram, her world shattered. At the Battle of the Somme, her cousin's body disappeared into the mud and her brother was left with debilitating shell shock. It was time, she knew, to put aside childish dreams. When Mouse receives news that her uncle has left her the fairy-blessed Thistlemarsh Hall, a dilapidated manor in the English countryside, she must leave her brother's side and return to her childhood home to claim her birthright. But there is a catch in her uncle's offer. If Mouse does not rehabilitate the crumbling house in 1 month's time, she will forfeit her inheritance and any hope of caring for her brother. It quickly becomes clear it's impossible to repair the manor in the allotted time, until a mysterious fairy appears with a proposition. He offers to restore Thistlemarsh for a price. Mouse knows better than to trust a fairy, especially one so insufferably handsome and arrogant, but she is out of options. There are dark and magical forces at work in this house, and Mouse must confront the ghosts of her past and the secrets of her heart, or lose Thistlemarsh and herself in the process. So this sounds like a cozy romance fantasy with also stakes and drama to it. It doesn't sound just like a boring cozy romance. It's some adventure to it. So that sounds really good to me. I can't wait. Next, thrillers. My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. Eden Fox, an artist on the brink of her big break, sets off for a run before her first exhibition. When she returns to the home she recently moved into, Spyglass, an enchanting old house in Hope Falls, nothing is as it should be. Her key doesn't fit, a woman eerily similar to her answers the door, and her husband insists that the stranger is his wife. One house, one husband, two women, someone is lying. 6 months earlier, a reclusive Londoner called Bertie, reeling from a life-changing diagnosis, inherits Spyglass. This unexpected gift from a long-lost grandmother brings her to the pretty seaside village of Hope Falls. But then Bertie stumbles upon a shadowy London clinic that claims to be able to predict a person's date of death, including her own. Secrets start to unravel, and as the line between truth and lies blurs, Bertie feels compelled to right some old wrongs. My Husband's Wife is a tangled web of deception, obsession, and mystery that will keep you guessing until the last page. That sounds so good. I love an Alice Feeney book, and whenever the description includes keeps you guessing till the last page, I'm in. I'm locked in. We're good to go. I'll probably binge read it in a day. I can't wait. Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden. Sometimes enough is enough. Debbie Mullen is losing it. For years, she has compiled all of her best advice into her column, Dear Debbie, where the wives of New England come for sympathy and neighborly advice. Through her work, Debbie has heard from countless women who are ignored, belittled, or even abused by their husbands, and Debbie does her best to guide them in the right direction, or at least she did. These days, Debbie's life seems to be spiraling out of control. She just lost her job, something strange is happening with her teenage daughters, and her husband is keeping secrets, according to the tracking app she installed on his phone. Now, Debbie's done being the bigger person. She's done being reasonable and practical, and it's time to take her own advice. And now it's time for payback against all the people in her life who deserve it the most. I love a Frida McFadden book. I know everyone has like a love-hate relationship with her. I love her stuff. I listen to it. I've never physically read a Frida McFadden book, but I've listened to pretty much every single one of her books, and they are the best books to put on while you're doing household chores. I'm just gonna say that. So I cannot wait. I love whenever she comes out with a book, so I will definitely be listening to that probably as soon as it comes out next year. Caller Unknown by Gillian McAllister. There's nothing that Simone won't do for her daughter Lucy. The two have always been close, and with Lucy about to leave home for university, they depart the the UK for a vacation to Texas to spend some quality time together. But when Simone awakens on their first morning in the desert, Lucy is gone, missing from their rental cabin. In her place is a cell phone, and a voice on the other line issues a shocking ransom demand. Don't tell the police, come to this location, and be prepared to do a deal. Though Simone's husband urges her to bring in the authorities for help, she knows she can't take any chances. The kidnappers might kill Lucy if she tells anyone. No mother would take that risk. Instead, that night, she drives to an isolated meetup. What she finds there changes everything. The mysterious kidnapper doesn't want money. They want Simone to do something, the unthinkable. A catastrophic chain of events is set in motion, with chilling consequences that extend beyond Simone and her family. What follows is a heart-pounding journey through the small towns and punishing deserts of remote Texas, in which Simone's courage and morality is pushed to the brink as she discovers what it truly means to be a mother. That sounds really good. That sounds like a classic, good thriller. Can't wait. Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston. Everyone at Chantilly's bar notices out-of-towner Camille Bayliss. Red lips, designer heels, sipping a Negroni. But that woman wasn't Camille Bayliss. It was Aubrey Price. Camille Bayliss appears to have the picture-perfect life. She's married to hotshot lawyer Ben and is the daughter of a wealthy Louisiana family. Only nothing is as it seems. Camille believes Ben has been hiding dirty secrets for years, but she can't find proof because he tracks her every move. Aubrey Price has been haunted by the terrible night that changed her life a decade ago, and she's convinced Benjamin Bayliss knows something about it. Living in a house full of criminals, Aubrey understands there's more than one way to get the truth, and she may have found the best way in. Aubrey and Camille hatch a plan. It sounds simple. For 12 hours, Aubrey will take Camille's place, Camille will spy on Ben, and the two women will get answers they desperately seek. Except the next morning, Ben is found murdered. Both women need an airtight alibi, but only one of them has it, and one false step is all it takes for everything to come undone. Again, sounds great. Honestly, I just love a good thriller, so there aren't a lot of thrillers that I don't want to read. Like most thrillers that come out, I'm all over them. A Box Full of Darkness by Simone St. James. Siblings return to the house they fled 18 years before, called back by the ghosts of their long missing brother and his haunting requests to come home. Strange things happen in Fell, New York. A mysterious drowning at the town's roadside motel, the unexplained death of a young girl whose body is left by the railroad tracks. For Violet Vale and Dottie Esme, the final straw was their little brother's shocking disappearance, which started as a normal game of hide and seek. As their parents grew increasingly distant, the sisters were each haunted by visions and frightening events, leading them to leave town and never look back. Violet still sees dead people, spirits who remind her of Sister, the menacing presence that terrorized her for years. Now, after nearly 2 decades, it's time for a homecoming, because Ben is back and he's ready to lead them to the answers they've longed for and long feared. I love that kind of story where it's like, as kids, something crazy happened and then they're finally gonna get to find out the mystery. If there is any sort of mystery in a thriller, I am hooked. I love that. And psychological thrillers are my favorite, but I will say that thrillers surrounded by mystery are definitely a close second for me. It's Not Her. Two families vacationing at a secluded lake resort are at the center of a chilling crime and mysterious disappearance in this twisty, unputdownable thriller. A stunning discovery. Courtney Gray's tranquil family vacation is shattered when she hears a blood-curdling scream from the lakeside cottage next door. There, she finds the lifeless bodies of her brother and sister-in-law. Her teenage niece Reese is nowhere to be found, while her nephew Wyatt lies asleep upstairs, unharmed. A shocking investigation. As the police descend on the quiet resort town, disturbing secrets about Courtney's family start to emerge. When she learns that the town has secrets of its own, it makes her wonder if Reese is another victim in a brutal crime, or if she's the killer. A truth no one could have imagined. As Courtney begins to unravel the terrible mystery, she realizes that everyone around her has something to hide, and the closer she gets to the truth, the harder it is to see. This is by the same author that wrote Local Woman Missing, and I absolutely loved that book, so I cannot wait to read this one. I'm sure it's going to be just as good. I hope anyway. Moving on to horror. The Unknown by Riley Sager. In 1926, 5 women disappeared from a remote island in Vermont. Now, 100 years later, it's happening again. Struggling actress Maren Keene is shocked when she lands a role in a major motion picture about the unsolved mystery of New Avalon, an island on sprawling Lake Faraday in Vermont. She's even more surprised when she learns that the role requires a week-long research trip to that very spot, because New Avalon isn't your ordinary island. A century ago, it was a commune for spiritual mediums. victims, until they all vanished in 1926. The only trace of them was 5 dresses hanging from the branches of an old oak tree in the middle of the island, one for each missing woman. Some locals say they simply left, others think they were murdered, but the prevailing opinion, thanks to a diary left behind by one of the vanished, a young woman named Daisy Rue, is that a seance gone wrong conjured something supernatural that took them all one by one. Not long after arriving, Marin and her castmates, including legendary actress Violet Wright and white-hot director Ronan Peters, begin to realize all is not right with New Avalon. They hear strange noises in the night and notice mysterious symbols left behind by the island's previous occupants. And after a sudden health emergency leaves Marin, Ronan, and the other actors stranded on the island, the disappearances begin again. Is it the work of someone trying to derail the movie, or is the island's alleged supernatural past catching up with the present? As fear and suspicion mount, Marin turns to Daisy's diary, hoping it holds the key to figuring out what really happened to the women of New Avalon, and how to keep the island's terrible history from repeating itself. That actually sounds so good and so much better than With a Vengeance, which Riley Sager put out this year. I cannot wait. I love Riley Sager. There's a couple of his books that have been misses for me, but overall, most of them are hits for me. And this one sounds like he's coming back strong. Like, he's back. Everyone. That's what it feels like. So I really hope the story is just as good as the synopsis makes it sound. You Did Nothing Wrong by C.G. Drews. Single mother Elodie's life has become a fairy tale. She's met Bren, equal parts golden retriever devoted and sinfully handsome. He's whisked her and her autistic son, Jude, to the crumbling family house he's renovating. She has a new husband, a new house, and a new baby on the way. Everything's perfect. Then, Jude claims he can hear voices in the walls. He says their renovations are hurting the house. Even Elodie can't ignore it. Something strange is going on. The question is it with the house or with her son? Then the one secret Elodie has been hiding is revealed, and no one is safe anymore. A pulse-pounding, clever take on the haunted house novel. You Did Nothing Wrong examines the complexities of motherhood and the twisted bonds of family as it races to its shocking ending. I love a haunted house, so I'm definitely excited to read that one. Molka by Monica Kim. Molka is the Korean term for spy cameras secretly and illegally installed, often to capture voyeuristic images and videos. Day can't believe her luck when she finds herself in a whirlwind romance with handsome, charismatic, I cannot pronounce that name, the heir to a multi-million-dollar fortune. But then a shocking revelation threatens. The couple has been caught on a spy cam amid Korea's growing mocha epidemic, and the video is all over the internet. When he flees the country to avoid the intense public scrutiny, Day is left to grapple with the ramifications on her own, and the demons from her childhood, long dormant, begin to surface. Amid the chaos, she catches the attention of a nerdy, introverted IT tech at work. He harbors a dark secret. He's been spying on the women at work with his own hidden cameras. As Day's life begins to unravel, she unknowingly becomes the sole target of his perverse obsession. When the facts surrounding the invasion of her privacy come to light, Day is faced with the humiliating truth. Her pain and hurt turn to rage as she faces her past. Her desire for vengeance is insatiable, and she will not rest until the men who have wronged her have paid in blood. That sounds so good. Abyss by Nicholas Binge. Severance meets Lovecraft in this surreal tale of corporate horror and existential dread. I love the show Severance, so I'm here for this. Joe always had potential, but he doesn't expect much, and he hopes that his new job as an admin assistant won't expect much of him. But when he enters the offices of Ponos, a company he's never heard of and knows nothing about, he discovers that potential is exactly what they want from him. A feverish dive into the inhumanity of both late-state capitalism and the crippling anxieties of modern life. Abyss adds a new level of meaning to Wage Slave. So that one sounds pretty good to me because it feels like it has maybe like a psychological aspect to it, and I love that in a horror book. Nowhere Burning by Katrina Ward. A refuge for lost children may also be their prison. In the middle of the night, Riley pulls her younger brother Oliver out of bed, and the two run away from home. Riley is intent on joining a group of teenagers squatting in the abandoned ruins of an infamous movie star's ranch, Nowhere. For actor Leif Winham, Nowhere was a place to hide from his fame and to hide his crimes until a fire ravaged his home and exposed him as a murderer. Okay. It is rumored that the ranch, nestled in the peaks of the Rocky Mountains, is now home to a group of feral children, a place where adults cannot enter, and Riley hopes to find a new family there. But the Nowhere kids are fierce in defending their turf and their clan, and Riley quickly realizes that while she and Oliver may have left the devil they knew, this group is a new type of diabolical. For something dark lives in the burned shell of Nowhere, something which asks a terrible price for sanctuary. That sounds so good. Again, there just sounds like there's so much mystery. For me, I need horror to to be either psychological or to have a mysterious aspect. Otherwise, I get so bored. Like splatterpunk, extreme horror. A lot of the times I don't like those kind of books because I just don't care about gore. So it just gets boring to me because I just don't care about it. So that sounds really good because it sounds like there's mystery and possibly like a supernatural element. And I love that in a horror. So very exciting. Dead but Dreaming of Electric Sheep. Meet Julia Fling, a 20-something former semi-professional gamer living with her retired uncle and working 2 jobs she doesn't like. Out of the blue, her estranged mother, a CFO for one of the world's largest tech companies, offers her a temp job with a payday Julia can't refuse. One sham interview later, she's offered the job to chaperone a man in a vegetative state, one with proprietary AI implanted in his head. From California to the East Coast. To sum up in Julia's own words, "You want me to remote control this dead dude across the country?" In a word, yes, but he's not dead. Meet a middle-aged man who wakes within a disorienting hellscape filled with monstrous grotesqueries. Worse than the fluid morphing reality in which he's trapped, he has no memory of who he is. He certainly doesn't remember getting the rabbit tattoo on his arm. He only knows that he must find a certain person. Who? He can't remember. Using a cell phone modeled after a video game controller, Julia fumblingly navigates the man she calls Bernie from the company campus and onto planes and through one of the largest airports in America. All the while, the man endures an ever-changing and worsening nightmare that offers clues as to who he was and who he must track down. And as their 2 lives intertwine, Julia and Bernie become unlikely allies and fugitives on a collision course with reality. That sounds crazy and so good. I feel like that's going to be a wild ride that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy. So those are the new release books that I can't wait to get my hands on in 2026. Let me know in the comments which of these are you grabbing, or if there's a 2026 new release that I need to add to my TBR. Let me know in the comments. Happy reading, happy holidays, and may your 2026 TBR be beautifully full. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.